Hello, hookah.org. It is Paul here once again with another video for you. This one is actually to accompany an article that I posted recently that is it's in response to one of the more common questions that most hookah smokers ask. What is the best hookah? I personally don't think there's really such thing as the best hookah. There is such a thing as the best hookah for me or for you. Currently, right now, the best hookah for me is this. It's the one I'm enjoying. It's the one that I really love. It is, at the moment, a Khalil Mamoon Halzone. As you've seen in many of my other videos, I also have quite a few hookahs, pretty much all of which I consider to be my best hookahs. They're the ones that I've stuck with over the years, they're the ones that give me good smoke, and they're the ones that I find aesthetically pleasing. Now, I think that there are best brands in each category. Those major categories being such as Chinese hookahs, classic Egyptian hookahs, and Syrian and Turkish, things like that. General categories that really mean a certain set of features. Now, if I were to choose one Egyptian hookah brand that I suggest people seek out, it really would be Khalil Mamoon. Now, part of the reason for that is the fact that they are almost always available. There are some other brands that I am a big fan of. I used to be a big fan of Magdi Zidan, but because of the lack of popularity in the West, they're not as available on the market as they used to be, and you don't see as many models as you do in Khalil Mamoon. Now, one of the other reasons that KM, which is Khalil Mamoon, get it? KM. Another reason that they are absolutely great for a lot of people is because they offer so many different models that there's pretty much guaranteed to be something that you love. Everything from the classic stainless steel body to the tri-metals that you see here, all the way to, they've been doing a lot of cast brass, which is really great and really beautiful. And each of those appeals to a different hookah smoker more than the others. So you have a lot of options. In that same vein, because there are so many models, sometimes less popular hookahs will get discontinued, pushed to the wayside, or at the very least not stocked by American vendors because they're not moving. They're not as popular, and they need to make shelf space for the more popular items like the tri-metals and some of the new things like the oxides and stuff like that. So sadly, one of the problems with popularity is that if you don't get the model you want, a few years down the line when you finally decide to make that purchase, it might not be available for you. That happened to me with the original tri-metals, actually. I would love to get my hands on a vintage Khalil Mamoon tri-metal, but what are you going to do? I'm pretty happy with what I have. Now, regarding Syrian hookahs, I'm still a pretty strong devotee of Noor, also known as Al-Nawras. That is a very hard to find brand of hookahs, but it's pretty much perfect for me. They tend to be shorter. They tend to be a little bit more restrictive in their draw, and they have this beautiful, very subtle, very almost austere design element to them. And my favorite is the Noor Karakol, which is just a simple swirl design. Absolutely love it. If you can find Noor hookahs, they are my pick for the best Syrian hookahs that you can currently find on the market. But that being said, those are extremely hard to find, and people have been jacking up prices to an absolutely ridiculous degree, which has kind of limited the fans of Noor to being either those who already have them, who are lucky enough to buy them back in the day, because they had a great price point back in the day, $100 for a Noor. Come on, who can say no to that? Or those that are seriously hardcore collectors, because I've seen some of them go for upwards of $200, and I find that to be a little bit unacceptable. On the other hand, there are some Egyptian brands that have been following the Syrian styling, and they are a good alternative. Khalil Mamoon being one of them, Temsa being another, Farida being a very good brand that also doesn't have a huge market presence right now, but they're great if you can get your hands on them. Regarding Chinese hookahs, there's really only one option, in my opinion. It's Maya Saray. Maya Saray is pretty much the only Chinese hookah I'll even give a second glance. Once again, similar to Khalil Mamoon, they have so many different models that you're pretty much guaranteed to find something that you love. And they are always in stock. Maya Saray is all about mass production, is all about creating a clean, repeatable hookah that is the same from one model to the next. So if you buy a Maya QT this year, it'll be the same Maya QT you buy 5 years from now. Really great stuff. They're very well made. Most of them, not including their economy line, most of them are cast from solid brass, or at least some brass alloy, and then plated to give kind of a silver look. And I think that their very modern design is beautiful and really speaks to some people, not so much to the traditionalists. Speaking of traditionalists, Turkish hookahs have been on the rise over the last few years, and there are some really nice brands hitting the American market. The most notable of which is Elmas. Elmas translates into essentially diamond or jewel, and they are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous hookahs, but they are very expensive. Now understand that with a traditional styled Turkish hookah, you don't have the purge valve that you do on an Egyptian or Syrian style, or modern Syrian style. So that is kind of an off-putting factor for some of the more modern hookah smokers. But if you're looking for traditional smoking, Elmas is pretty much the way to go. Like I said, they are expensive though, but you can have everything from relatively small models, which, I mean, they'll cost you some money, but they're not egregious, all the way up to like, oh geez, the 501B, I think that is the model number of one of them. That is, it's hundreds of dollars, but it is absolutely gorgeous. It's massive and has beautiful, beautiful tooling work. There are some other brands, though, that are worth looking into. El Nefis is one that has been gaining a lot of popularity because it's available, though that is a modified Turkish hookah, so it does have a purge valve. Another line that I think you should look into because they are more affordable and easier to find. Othmani, actually, thanks to our friends over at medhawk.com, they have really beautiful hookahs that are very much in response to the demands of the customer. Gorgeous stuff at a somewhat more reasonable price than Elmas, and all around good hookahs. So really, those are my picks when it comes to the major brands of, the major styles of hookah. Noor for Syrian, Khalil Mamoon for Egyptian, Elmas for Turkish, and Maya Saray for Chinese. If you stick to those brands, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a good hookah that will smoke well and will almost guaranteed look pretty damn good too. So that's about it. This is Paul giving his opinions, for whatever they're worth, on the brands to keep your eyes out for and the brands to choose if you're choosing your first hookah and really aren't sure where to go. So that's it. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Please go down below, like and subscribe, give us that thumbs up. It really helps us out, lets us know what you like and what you don't. Please go to the forums, check us out there. We have great conversations going on, as well as wonderful information going up at very least weekly, and some wonderful discussions. And that is the only place that you can get the information you need to enter into our contests, which you should definitely do. So this is Paul for hookah.org saying thank you very much for joining us, and happy smoking.